let's bring him on here. We're gonna try to, and I'm still got the better mode. Let's see.
Hey, Jeremiah.
Hey Jeremiah, it's Kenny. How's it going?
Hello.
Hey,
Kenny.
this is Kenny. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's cutting out a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Are you on a Google Voice?
No, I'm on a Skype call.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, how do I sound now?
That sounds really good.
Okay, gotcha. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I'm joined with my next guest at this time. He is a recording artist. He is also part of a band, such an incredible band, let me say, the Heartbreak Time Machine. I'm joined with Jeremiah Jacobs. He is on the show right now. How are you on this fine Thursday, sir?
Sweltering in the Northern California heat.
What's the temperature like? What's the temperature as of right now?
It's 100 on the dot right here. And, yeah, man, we're just trying to keep it cool right now on the west side,
100 even. And I thought I was feeling the heat, and it's like 87 to 90 here in Kentucky right now. But nonetheless, man, I'm very, very happy to have you on the show this evening. So with all that being said, man, just talk about your journey and as far as getting into music.
Well, I mean, you kind of want me to start at the beginning, or do you want me to work backward? What do you think's best for your listeners?
Let's start from the beginning. Let's start from the beginning.
In the beginning, there was once a very small boy who lived in the mountains, and he liked animals. I I guess like a lot of people in this business, you start really young, and you maybe don't know that this is what you're going to be doing, and I guess looking back on it, it's kind of like being in a in a boat, like a little rowboat, and you're on a river, and you can row one direction, you can row to one bank or to the other bank, but at some point the river's just taking you where it's going. And I kind of feel I've been like that with music. I've made a little row to one side to technology shortly. I've done rowing to the other side of trying to be in more of the business side of it, or management side of it. But no matter which side I'm trying to row toward, I'm still in the river taking me out to the big ocean of music, man. And so I guess I kind of began as a just a young man, taking piano lessons in a small mountain town, and it wasn't until as a musician, I was telling my Eris this, that I came to music really late, actually. I was always more interested for the longest time in just kind of being an engineer, and kind of creating how the sound was created was more interesting than the music itself for a long time. And so my initial career was just me trying to replicate sounds and soundscapes and sort of moods before I really came to music. And so for the longest time, I was just a kid in these small towns with not a lot around, not a lot of opportunity. And there just happened to be like maybe an old guy from the old music era around who was, had like his own recording studio and was just teaching people the basics of it. And it wasn't until I was in my 20s when I went to college, to the big city. And that's when I started getting into actual training in the recording arts and kind of seeing what it was really about. And then just by coincidence here in Sacramento, I don't know if you've ever heard of the band. I don't. By the way, I'm gonna be real careful about name dropping here. These are only points of reference, but
Yeah.
like, there was this group for a minute called Tony Tony Tony, and
Mm-hmm.
they were kind of a deal. They had their little what was it? If I Had No Loot, and a couple other like really nice songs. And so one of those guys, Dwayne, was kind of trying to be a producer at the time, and so he was working at the studio that I worked at, and that's when I met him. And this artist named Karen White, who was a vocalist coming up out of LA. Well, she had already come up. She already had a hit at that point.
Yeah.
And this was my first like cutting my teeth kind of session. Like my first real session is Dwayne Wiggins and Karen White, man. And Karen is and was a very excellent singer. And it was just a mind-blowing experience. I'd never been around talent at that level before as an engineer or as a person, man. I mean, those folks are on some hits that we listen to today. And that was kind of my big kick in the pants. That was the big the light coming on as to how serious other people took this, and kind of, the bigger picture of what's going on. People are telling their life stories. People, it's music it's the magic to all of us out there. And that's when I really started getting interested in music itself. It was when it occurred to me, it was a lot more than just being a recording engineer, And yeah, so that's kind of the beginning of it. I mean, yeah, help me along here, Kenny.
So, you've been around for 3 decades. You
Yeah.
done keyboard, you sing solo, you've been part of several bands.
Yeah.
So you've done engineer work as well. Speaking of quote unquote name drops, you was a staff engineer for Sacramento's Studio Z, which is a regional fixture of recording arts, and you worked under the tutelage of a producer by the name of Brian Alexander Morgan, who
Yeah.
penned the hit song Weak by R&B supergroup SWV. He also did a lot of talk about that experience working with Studio Z. What was that like going through being an engineer at that time for Studio Z?
Well, at the time, man, so I'm going to take you guys back to this is the early 90s,
Yeah.
right? And early to mid 90s. And this is right around the time in the music business where this thing came out called an ADAT. And if you guys are my age and you've ever tried to make music on your own as an independent artist in the 90s, you knew what an ADAT was. And so when that machine came out, the Alesis ADAT, which was a digital home recording equipment, it made it so that home musicians could have digital quality recording. It's just amazing at the time. And it was changing the music scene intensely. It was giving much younger and much less well-financed artists an opportunity to compete on the same sonic stage as everybody else. So there was like this really brand new population of producers coming into music with their own ideas, and it was kind of, the dependency on the major label system was really changing. And so there was a lot of different stuff kind of happening. And so Studio Z was kind of sort of became, because they had such a great mix room, sort of became like this epicenter of a lot of these emerging producers that had these ADAT machines, and it was through that work that I met an engineer named Larry Funk, whose name is on countless rap records, as both a mixing engineer and a mastering engineer. And Larry and I got along really well. And Larry and Brian, Larry's from Wichita, Kansas, and so was Brian. And they'd come out to California after to follow. I think they were following SWV, or they had something to do with that band. And it was after he'd done Weak, so he was already established. And he had this personal studio down south of Sacramento a little bit, and Larry was his engineer. And so this Larry Funk guy and I had met at Studio Z, and he's like, "Hey, you probably work real well with this Brian guy." And I didn't know anything really about music production, not as a producer would. I kind of understood the process as far as like, well, you start the tape and then you press play and record, and a singer does something. You know what I mean? And but I went to work for this producer for a while as his personal engineer, and that's where I really, really saw firsthand what was kind of happening with artists and how songs were written and why they were written the way they were. Um, one example, I was um, Brian was working for an artist, a young woman named Brandy,
Mhm.
and I can't remember the song they were working on. He was writing it for her, and he made a comment to me about you have to give them space to breathe when they're on stage, and it just blew my mind that I'd never thought about writing lyrics in a way that gives your artist time to take a couple breaths when they're walking around on stage. Like I'd never thought about that as a logistics thing. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And working with him was that's just one example of the thing that I kind of learned from that guy. Was just really blew open my mind about what was going on in music and how it was being made and the choices behind the careers and the sound and all that. And after that, man, I was all in. I mean, that just lit every fire for what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And so that's what I've been trying to do in some form or another.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So that was definitely a good experience. Obviously, working your way up into music and just getting that engineering feel for it. Definitely a good experience for sure. So you, as I pointed out, you've been part of multiple bands, including the Heartbreak Time Machine, and I
Yeah,
got the chance to listen to some of the music. Um, "Slip Away" was the latest single back in
yeah.
released last year. I even listened to "Listen Up," no pun intended. Um, Man, this music is incredible, man. Like this is some great music that I'm listening from the Heartbreak Time Machine. So I really enjoyed the tunes from
Thank
that
you. That is so
that
kind. Thank you.
band. So just talk about the Heartbreak Time Machine as far as just the band in general, man. Like, was it like working, being part of this particular band?
Well, the Heartbreak Time Machine is my band. I mean, that's my project, and it's more or less just about sort of me as my artistic vision. It started in fact, the band is almost 10 years old to the day. We formed it in 2012, and the summer of 2012, and August of 2012 was when we formed. So it was a name. The name I'd been in a cover band with some friends of mine, and we kept talking about how all of the songs that we were doing as a cover band kind of took people back. That was something that people said to us all the time. Oh, you really took me back when you played this song. And so we kind of had this time machine vibe, and I had come up with this title to use for the cover band called the Heartbreak Time Machine. And we all liked the name, but as a cover band thing, it just never clicked. And I just kind of let the name sit behind me for a while in my brain, and then I decided just to use it as my band. And the reason I picked the name was um, I have this really kind of long uh, history. In my mind, I have a lot of music from all over history that I've listened to or cataloged or just, uh, absorbed in some way. And when I write my songs, you can hear me pulling from very different eras of music, or in the case of Talk to You, is almost a tribute to that one era of 80s, rock and optimistic rock from the 80s. Um, and then Slip Away is just a straight rock blues tribute to that sort of entire genre. And I have some music coming up that's going to have a little more, like I have a new single coming out that's going to be a little more drawing from hip hop and rap a little bit more. And so for me, I felt to prevent locking myself into a small box as an artist, I had to have a name that told the listener that you're going to kind of be all over time. You're going to have some really eclectic flavors coming at you. And so the Heartbreak Time Machine kind of felt as the time machine aspect kind of gave that away. And then the heartbreak thing just came from a phrase. once. That's something I said out loud about. Well, it's actually partly from Sting, and then sort of my riff on it, which is a thing about to get to the soul, to heal the soul, which is our job as musicians. To heal the soul, you got to break open the heart first, and it's a very delicate job to break a heart in a way that it can be healed. And so that was sort of this thought about the Heartbreak Time Machine, is this musical idea that's going to heal your soul and take you through time. And so there it is.
And congratulations, almost a decade since that band was formed. And I definitely look forward to this next single. Me being a hip hop head, you say hip hop, I was like, I'm all in to that. I'm all in.
Thank you.
So I'm
Well, that was
definitely.
my original, when I was very young, the first jobs I ever did as an engineer was working on rap records here in Sacramento, on underground rap. And that's because underground rap worked at night, and because that's what they could afford. And then because I was the new engineer, I got the night jobs. And so I spent the first 5 years of my life in the studio cutting underground rap records. And I have a very, very special place in my heart for that music and how it's made and why it was made. And it's the music, to me, that era of rap especially it's really the underdog's music. It's people who are getting crushed by life, trying to make sense of it. And there's always been a special place in my heart for underground rap. And I've always kept the production techniques and sort of the attitude and the no bull. I'm sorry, can I say this on your? The no bullshit story. Absolutely no bullshit storytelling of a lot of underground rap that just stuck with me for life. And I've always kind of wanted to do some musical tributes to that era for myself, and just kind of tie it back to like this is where I was musically born, was in West Coast underground rap. And so this latest single coming out is really draws from that time of my life. And but now it has a little more of that adult refinement to it. And I really like how it came out. I'm super excited about it.
So is this a Jeremiah solo track, or is this a Heartbreak Time Machine track that's
It's
coming out?
another Heartbreak Time Machine track. Yeah, it's me. I am the Heartbreak Time Machine. And then it's, as my project, it's me bringing together various musicians and for each single, and kind of creating a really nice piece of work every time.
Gotcha. So with all that being said, what's next? What else you have on the horizon as far as more new music, maybe some upcoming shows, collaborations? What's next for Jeremiah in the coming weeks and months?
I mean, I have at this point in my career, I really enjoy naps and sleeping in and late breakfasts. So whatever I do, there's going to be late breakfast and some naps, because that's just how I want to live now, and that's my best life. And comfortable shoes. Like, you feel me? Like,
Yes.
we have to learn to draw immense pleasure from the smallest things. So the next thing, I guess I can talk about this today. I just inked a deal. Literally Monday, I got signed to do a TV project that's probably not going to be out for 2 years, but that'll be coming out in about 2 years. So that's something I look forward to working on over the next 8 months, I think, is our production calendar.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be really interesting. That's a culmination of all my work, my life sort of work to date, with my background in film and TV already. And there's a lot being brought to the table. So I'm excited about that. And, live work these days, Kenny, is weird, man. It's so hot during the summer that it's really hard to play outdoors anymore. And I remember when it wasn't this hot, and you could go out and play on a Saturday in the middle of July, and it would only be 90 degrees. It'd be like, man, it was sweltering today. But these days, man, it's not uncommon to see trip digits, and so a lot of us have slowed down some of our live stuff as far as like touring or whatever, because it's just brutal, man. And so I don't know what the future holds for the Heartbreak Time Machine as a live act. It's a really weird world out there right now, man.
Yeah.
And I talked for a while about doing something like a mountain town tour where we just go to towns that have less than 1,000 people, and or something kind of like that. I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm thinking about it a lot, but I haven't figured it out. Does that make sense?
That's fair. Um, that's definitely fair. I do like the part you saying just get the shoes and relax. Uh, music is definitely something that you take pride of. But every now and then, you just gotta relax. Just enjoy life. And when the time's right, then you get back to it. Like you live in California. Like I don't know how anyone in California can perform outdoors in 90 to 100 degrees weather. And that's insane.
It's brutal. Yeah.
And I live in Kentucky. We I don't think we even get to 100 ever, at least in my lifetime. Now, maybe when you look at the weather report, it says feels like 100. Like, no, this ain't California weather. It don't compare to California weather at all. Arizona and some other western states. Nah, whoever came up with that feels like 100 degrees. I need to have a word with the news. Get on the phone with the news person, with the meteorologist or whatever term it is that they are called. Well, weather meteorologist, whatever. I need to have a word with you because that is a bold lie. That is. I'll just use the phrase fake news. That's what that is. Fake news. Because it don't feel like no 100 degrees. They must think we California or something. No. So that's
Kenny, you
yeah.
crack me up, dude. I love it. Hell yeah.
I'm sorry about that, but I was
You're
just
holding nothing back, my friend. You're just
yeah,
telling it like it is. That's what I
yeah,
like.
right. This weather, folks, man, drive me nuts in this time of year. Like we get it. It's 90 degrees. I don't need that extra stuff. Just give me whatever it is. Just tell it like it is, and just keep it moving.
That's
Just
yeah, that's right. That's what we're all trying to do, man. Just get down to what it's all about and keep on moving. That's all it is, man.
so. For more info on Jeremiah Jacobs, you can check out his website at www.jeremiahjacobs.com. Check out his music, Heartbreak Time Machine, and to find out what's next for him. He's got some things in the works, so just check out the website and check out some of the social media, especially Instagram. Follow him at keys_by_J. That's his solo account, and then the band IG is heartbreak_time_machine. So check him out there. Jeremiah, it's been great having a chat with you.
Same, Kenny.
I enjoyed this conversation and learning a lot from the West Coast underground music scene. This platform, I take pride of having a platform that just focus on all underground music, different genres, different music, things of that nature, and it's always fascinating to hear like what music is out there. And it's very, very important for the listeners, man, please support independent music. Please do that. Please support your friends that are musicians. That's fulfilling a dream, fulfilling a passion. Just be that cheerleader. Whether
Thank you.
yeah. So that's all I have.
All right. Much love, Kenny, from my coast to yours, my friend. Thank you so much for giving my music a chance, buddy. I appreciate it so much. Appreciate it so much.
I appreciate you, man. I look forward to this new single. You enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks again.
Okay, beginning. Bye-bye, Mal.
Bye bye. That was